I played a game against Daniil Dubov, the world rapid champion, one of the strongest grandmasters in the world, second member of the team of Magnus Carlsen. Actually, it was a fascinating game, so I'll review it here in this video. Also, I do recommend you watch the whole interview with Daniil that I recorded. It's about many topics such as his chess development, his goals, his opinion on chess cheating. Hikaru Nakamura has recently watched this interview on his stream and really liked it. I recommend you do the same. But let's get to the game. A few remarks. Since I'm just a mere candidate master, a mere mortal, and Daniil is one of the strongest grandmasters in the world, playing on equal terms would be not interesting for any of us. So we decided to play with time odds. I got 5 minutes and Daniil got 1. So that's not equalized our chances, but at least gave me some chances, some hope to do something, maybe flag him. Let's see what happened in this game. So I started out with e4, c5, knight c3, e6. This is a sideline against the Sicilian. I'm fianchetting my bishop. And my opponent is playing really aggressive. The setup with b5, advancing the pawns on the queen side, maybe advancing them further later on. The position is still equal. He takes and goes h5, which indicates his intention to destroy me on the king side. Maybe if I take here, go here with the queen and checkmate me. If that had happened, he would not have needed his minute. He would just checkmate me in 5 seconds. But I didn't want to allow that, so I went h4. The computer doesn't like this move, but I think humanly speaking, it's all right. And after something, the computer says that it's a good move. It's still equal. So he develops. I pin his knight. Here I exploit the position that he gave me on g5 due to moving his h-pawn. Had this pawn been here, then it could have moved here and attacked my bishop. But now the pawns don't go backwards, so this is a nice outpost for my bishop, pinning his knight. He moves his queen out of the pin. Some moves the computer here gives as inaccuracies or even mistakes, but first of all, let me remind you that Stockfish is 3,500 rated, and it will find mistakes in any games of any grandmaster, even Magnus Carlsen. So don't be too judging about that. And second of all, let me remind you that Daniil only had 1 minute, so he made his moves with bullet speed. It's even more difficult than playing bullet online, because offline you also need some time to move the pieces. Maybe if you knock down a piece, you have to adjust it. So this also happened a couple of times. So this is like in online, you can also pre-move. So online bullet with 1 minute is much easier. I would say that playing IRL in real life over the board with 1 minute on the clock is like playing 30-second bullet online. I would compare it to this. So okay, we trade. It's still equal, and here I make a mistake or an inaccuracy maybe, because what I had to do here was somehow the computer really likes this move, trading here and destroying his pawn structure. But I really didn't want to do that because two bishops is something to value, and the bishop is generally much stronger than the knight. Also here I give him the avenue for attack on the g file, and then he could move his pawn to hit me here. And humanly speaking, this is kind of dangerous. So I just develop. He tries to pressure my f2 square, maybe add a bishop attacker later on. I move back. I don't know why I did that, actually. It was kind of strange, but yeah. But here I find a brilliant move. You see the chess.com engine gives us 2 exclamation points, which means that this is a brilliant move. I sacrifice the knight on d5. This is a thematic sacrifice in the Sicilian defense. As they say, I'm utilizing the fact that here the king of the black is still in the center. So if he takes, I take with check. And actually, it's not even a sacrifice of a knight, because after he moves out of the way, I just take his bishop, and I'm actually not down any material, and his king is very weak, and this position is quite nice. He can defend like this, and there are some variations after that, but white has an advantage in this line. So he liked this move. He commended me on that. He said, you are like turning the tide in this game. The interview, by the way, between me and him was in Russian, but it has English subtitles, so you can watch it. It was recorded in Kazakhstan. I'm also a native Russian, so it would be strange for me to speak with him in English. But we made English subtitles for the international audience. So check it out. It's a great interview. So he moved back, and then I yet again make another move that deserves his praise. I attack his queen. Well, it's kind of logical. I always keep pressuring him, keep creating threats so that he does not do the same. Because if Daniil Dubov starts creating threats, then I'm in deep problem. So he blocks, because otherwise, had he not blocked, had he moved, for example, his queen, I would have gone here with a fork to the king and the rook. So that would be not good. So he went here, and I'm attacking him yet again, asking some questions to his bishop. Now I centralize my rook. Still, you cannot take, because I take with a check, and it's good for me. He moves back, and here I also move back, because now he's threatened to take my knight. Here he develops, and I move a little bit dubious according to the computer. This move is because he could have taken here. And if I take with my queen or bishop, he could take here. So I have to take here, but then he has to take here with a check, which is called a zwischenzug, the in-between move with a check. So I take, and then he takes like this and has an extra pawn, but still it's not that simple. And it's, it would require calculation and several seconds of his clock for that to, even for such a strong player as Daniil, it would require some time to calculate. So he didn't calculate this. He just moved his rook to this file. And here I do some clever thing. Actually, very instructive. I trade. Here I do trade my bishop for the knight, and then I go c5. And look at this bishop. Look at him. He's like staring at my pawn chain and unable to move. His diagonal is blocked, and it's not a good bishop. And if it moves here, it's staring at this pawn, so it doesn't effectively have any scope. So this bishop is much worse than this knight of mine. So yeah, and his king is still in the center, so I have some small but pleasant advantage. And here he moved g6, which was a mistake, but understandably, he didn't have much time to calculate. Here I missed another opportunity to sacrifice the knight again on the same square, knight d5. This was the strongest move. And again, if he takes, that would be just devastating, because if he moves, for example, back, like here, I go even here. And if he moves his queen back, I'm just taking, and I'm taking everything. I'm checkmating him. If he goes here, this is checkmate, for example. And if he goes the other way, also checkmate in a few moves. Check, d7, check. The only way to defend is this, and this is checkmate. So that would have been just great, knight d5. Again, he's not obliged to take. Taking is bad, as I said. But that would be very good. But I decided to do something else. Also understandable from a human standpoint. I saw that his king is still in the center, so I struck him with f4, trying to blow open the center of the board. But he is castling. I advance further to try to weaken his pawn structure, because if he takes, for example, this way, I can jump in with my queen, and I have some attacking possibilities. It's very important, even when you play the strongest players of the world, to not be too afraid, to not curl up in the ball defensively, or like try to play solid as possible, because then they will outplay you, they will dominate you on the board, and you have no chance. You have to not be afraid. Obviously, I was afraid. You can see my hands trembling during the game, but I was afraid, but I still went for aggressive chess. That's the only way I could have any chances. And you see, I'm still alive after 23 moves, which is something against such a strong player. So here I trade, which is not the best move, but not the worst one. His pawns are kind of weak. And I was thinking that with this pawn structure, his bishop will never be alive, his dark squared bishop, because it's staring at this pawn and it will not move forward. Maybe it would be better for him even to just dispense of this pawn whatsoever, to take it with his queen. would the rules allow it, but unfortunately the rules don't allow it. So he tries to activate this bishop by killing my pawn structure here. So if I take, it activates, and black has a great position, but obviously I just defend. So first I attack this pawn. And this is a bad move because apparently he could have taken and ignored this threat, but thankfully he didn't take. He protected, and then I traded some rooks, gave him a check, and protected this pawn chain. This pawn chain, it's again quite solid, but unfortunately for me, here he starts to turn the tide of the game. He goes to rook d4, activating his rook, and using the fact that if I trade here, he improves his pawn structure, and now he can even later on activate the bishop this way. Also, my knight is hanging, so I have to go here, and the position is equal-ish, but I would say that it's much more pleasant to play for black. Black can go e5 and create this powerful protected passed pawn that has no pawns stopping it on the way. So all endgames are better for black at this point. So the computer says it's equal, but I don't really believe in this position. So, but I didn't know what to do, and I was already panicking because I saw that my time is running out, and my time usage obviously was not as efficient as Daniil's because I'm not even close to him with considering play and strength. So I moved my knight back, which was like a panicky move, and he just ate my pawn because the rook is protected by the bishop. I forgot about it at the time. So I moved out of this pin of this bishop, which was apparently again a mistake. I should have just maybe gone here and tried to exert pressure on this diagonal, and this is equal. The computer shows some crazy lines like sacrificing the bishop here with a check, and then giving a check here, and then going rook c4, strong, powerful move. So sacrificing a piece for black for 3 pawns and decent compensation. Well, interesting line, but neither of us, I think, saw that. And at that point, I just was trying to survive. And he was trying to not lose on time, as he told me. And here I panicked. I forgot that this knight was protecting this pawn. So he threatened my queen and then didn't even take this pawn. First tried to exert more pressure on the d file, and I took his rook, which was another mistake, but I had very, very little time at that point. He took with the queen, and now both my pawn and my knight are hanging. I protected with my king, and he took this pawn, and this pawn was the most important pawn in my position because it was the base of the pawn chain. And once it falls, this pawn also falls, and my king becomes susceptible to a powerful and devastating attack by the 2 bishops, which are not stoppable. You see, all the game hinged on the ability of this bishop to activate, and he finally managed to activate it, and the game was effectively over. After queen d4, I resigned after losing this knight in panic, in time travel. So there was mate in 6 coming at this point, so I did not see any point to continue. This was a fascinating game. I got a unique opportunity to play one of the greatest chess players of our time. And if you want me to do some specific chess content that you have always wanted to see on YouTube, do write a comment about that, and do comment about the quality of this game and whether you liked it or not, and subscribe to the channel. See you.